I don't want to say that, but I've done it before.
And you thought it might be you?
Yes. I've been living in that kind of life all my life. The tabloid press, that kind of press, not the press, the tabloid, the paparazzi, that type. I've been running for my life like that, hiding, getting away. We can't go that way because they're over there. And well, let's go this way. Pretend we're going that way and we'll go that way. Somebody say, hold on, stop. This person deserves their privacy. You are not allowed to go there. I go around the world dealing with running and hiding. I can't take a walk in the park. I can't go to the store. I have to hide in a room. And you feel like you're in prison.
What's been the most intrusive thing? What's the worst?
They've always have been. They go as far as to hiding in the places. So they'll slide a machine up under the toilet. You go, oh my God. They've done that. So I'm tired of does it mean?
Okay, wait, I've got to get up.
It was his song.
The host is F. The host.
In 1995, the world was introduced to one of the most visually striking and expensive music videos ever created. A cold, monochrome universe, endless metallic corridors, floating screens, silence that felt heavier than sound itself. Two figures moving through the space with robotic precision, yet carrying something deeply human inside every motion. But what the world saw was only the surface. Because Scream was never just a music video, it was a response, a reaction to pressure, isolation, and the weight of global attention that had been building for years. At the center of it were two of the most important siblings in modern music history, Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson. To understand how Scream came into existence, you have to go back a few years earlier to a moment where Michael Jackson's life changed direction completely. By the early 1990s, he was no longer just a global superstar admired for his talent. He had become the center of constant global scrutiny. Every movement, every silence, every decision was analyzed, interpreted, and repeated across media outlets around the world. After 1993, that pressure intensified dramatically. The media cycle never stopped. Headlines multiplied. Public perception became distorted. And Michael Jackson found himself in a position where fame no longer felt like success. It felt like confinement. He wasn't just being watched. He was being consumed. When the history era began, Michael made a deliberate decision. He would not remain silent. He would not retreat. Instead, he would respond through his art, but in a way that was direct, aggressive, and emotionally raw. That decision became the foundation of Scream. The track was developed alongside producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and from the very beginning, the sound design was intentional. This was not meant to be a soft pop record. It was designed to feel like pressure translated into audio form. The percussion was sharp and mechanical. The rhythm was tight and controlled. The sonic space was deliberately restricted, creating a feeling of tension that never fully releases. Everything in the production was built to reflect emotional intensity rather than comfort. Initially, Scream was conceived as a solo track, but as the production evolved, something became clear. A single voice was not enough to carry the emotional weight of the message. The song needed contrast, it needed dialogue. That is when Janet Jackson entered the project. At that point in her career, Janet was already a fully established global artist. She was not emerging from anyone's shadow. She had already built her own identity, her own sound, and her own artistic direction. Her career was defined by control, precision, and innovation. When she joined Scream, she did not enter as a supporting figure, she entered as an equal creative force. One of the most important production decisions in the entire project was that Michael and Janet did not record most of their vocals together. This was not due to conflict or distance between them. It was due to artistic process. Michael's approach to recording was deeply emotional. He needed isolation. He needed space to fully immerse himself in the feeling of the track. His performance came from emotional intensity rather than structured repetition. Janet's approach was the opposite. She worked with precision. Timing mattered. Control mattered. Every vocal layer was calculated and refined. Instead of forcing both approaches into the same environment, the production allowed them to exist separately. This separation preserved the authenticity of both performances, and paradoxically, it strengthened the final result. Because when you listen to Scream, you do not hear a blended duet. You hear two independent forces existing within the same space. Michael's vocals are raw, emotional, sometimes even strained. Janet's vocals are sharp, controlled, and deliberate. They do not merge into one identity. They oppose each other, and that opposition is exactly what creates the tension of the song. Then came the visual component. The music video was directed by Mark Romanek, and from the earliest stages of development, the concept was centered around one idea: isolation. Multiple visual directions were considered, but anything that felt traditional, colorful, or emotionally soft was rejected. The intention was not to create comfort, it was to create atmosphere. The final concept became a spaceship drifting through deep space, a sealed environment disconnected from Earth, from society, and from normal reality. It was not just futuristic, it was symbolic. The production scale was massive. The budget reached approximately $7 million, making it the most expensive music video of its time. But the cost itself was not the defining factor. The defining factor was how it was built. Instead of relying heavily on digital effects, large physical sets were constructed. Entire corridors, rooms, and environments were built to allow real physical interaction. This gave the video a grounded, tangible quality even within an abstract concept. Behind the scenes, the working dynamic between Michael and Janet remained consistent with their recording process. They did not constantly operate as a single unit on set. They prepared individually. They entered performance mode separately. They existed in different mental spaces. Michael remained internal, focused, quiet, emotionally immersed in the meaning of the project. Janet remained external, precise, controlled, technically ready at all times. Two completely different working systems moving toward the same goal, and yet when filming began, everything aligned. The choreography in Scream became one of the most iconic visual elements in music history. Sharp movements, mechanical precision, exact timing. Every motion felt controlled, almost robotic, but still emotionally charged. However, the true power of the choreography was not just technical execution, it was contrast. Michael projected energy outward. His movements felt explosive and expressive. Janet controlled energy inward. Her movements were contained, precise, and directional. This push and pull dynamic created visual tension, and that tension became one of the defining features of the video. Even sequences like the synchronized chair choreography appear highly complex, but were actually developed relatively quickly during production. Both performers already possessed instinctive control over rhythm and movement, built through decades of performance experience. They did not rely on excessive repetition, they relied on instinct and timing. When Scream was released, it immediately took over global music television. It was not just a successful video, it became a cultural event. It redefined what a music video could be in terms of scale, aesthetic, and emotional tone. But its deeper impact was not visual or commercial. It was perceptual. For the first time in years, Michael Jackson was not only seen as an untouchable icon, he was seen as a human being under extreme pressure reacting to the world around him. And Janet Jackson was not seen as a secondary figure in a famous family. She was seen as a fully equal artistic force standing beside him. Years later, after Michael Jackson's death, the meaning of their collaboration took on a new emotional dimension. Janet continued her career, but the connection between them remained present in her performances. In later tours and live shows, she incorporated visual footage of Michael Jackson into her stage acts. During these performances, she would sing and move while images of him played behind her on screen, sometimes archival footage, sometimes edited sequences designed to match the performance. And something subtle happened in those moments. Her movements began to align with the visuals in a way that felt synchronized. Not imitation, but emotional response. It created the illusion of shared performance across time, as if the collaboration was still ongoing in another form. It became a continuation of what Scream represented at its core. Because at its deepest level, Scream was never just about anger. It was about expression under pressure. It was about refusing silence. It was about standing together in the face of overwhelming external forces. And even after everything that followed, that connection never fully disappeared. They did not explain. They did not soften. They did not disappear. They screamed.